I was listening to a recent podcast that you was on, Drink Champs, and just hearing you and Rick Ross, something I did notice with you guys when I was watching, I was like, they have a chemistry. It doesn't seem like it's just business. It feels like they really got genuine love for each other. In business, why is it important to not lose sight of that human element?
I think that human element's the most important. I try not to look at relationships as a transaction or a relationship is with an individual or a company. I want a real relationship where it should last a long time. I want someone who's going to motivate me. I want someone who's going to push me. I want someone who's going to give ideas. A transaction, if you think about a transaction, it's a finite thing. It's going to end. So whether it's Ross or Wayne or Wiz or Khaled or whoever it is, like I want to build on these things, and it's important to me.
With those names you said, Wiz, Khaled, Rick Ross, I know you work with Lil Wayne. All those guys are under the hip hop umbrella. Why did you choose to work with those individuals within hip hop? What about them? Is there anything about that culture that grabs your attention?
The Highest Point Podcast.
More than a pod, it's a lifestyle.
Brought to you by Dilemma Radio. Yo, welcome to the Highest Point Podcast. This is a podcast for everyone, no matter where you're from, no matter what you've been through. You know you deserve the best and willing to put in the work for progress to reach the highest point. Now, speaking of reaching the highest point, we have a very special guest in the building. A legend in the industry. He's the founder and CEO of the international wine company Sovereign Brands, which consists of the amazing drink Luc Belaire, which is the fastest growing French sparkling wine in the world. And I also got hip of this drink from the famous legendary rapper Rick Ross. Also, he has a drink called Bumbu. This is the best-selling brand in the U.S. premium rum category, which also has collaborations with one of the GOATs in hip hop, that's Lil Wayne. Now, he has all these amazing things going on right now. That's just some of the brands. And we're going to get into all of them. But also, he has amazing products from the past as well, such as Ace of Spades, which he sold to the hip-hop icon Jay-Z in 2014, and Douce, two of the most successful brands in the super premium champagne and premium cognac categories. He's also the host of Self-Made, the amazing show where you can hear him interviewing some of your favorite entertainment and musical guests. If you don't know who this man is, you need to get familiar because what he's doing is groundbreaking. I'm honored to have on our show Mr. Brett Berish. What's up with you, man? How you doing?
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you having me on The Highest Point. I'm not good at talking about myself, so hearing you talk about me is even better.
Absolutely. Well, I don't have no problem being your loudspeaker because, hey, man, everything you're doing is awesome.
You can be my MC.
Well deserve it.
You can be my MC.
You've been doing so many amazing things, and I'm really intrigued by it. I'm motivated by it. I'm inspired by it. But one thing about this show is we like to hear the journey of our guests. You're doing all these amazing things. You're doing them now. You've done them in the past. But a lot of times people can assume the process was overnight. But we all know it's not overnight.
I got a question. Did you go to college?
I did. I went to two schools. I went 2 years at University of Florida in Gainesville.
Okay.
So, and then I went 2 years at NYU.
Okay.
And then I worked for a bank for a year, and then I quit after a year to start a business, and a friend dropped out, and felt like I couldn't do it alone. And then I ended up living in Asia for 5 years. I have no idea why. Studied Chinese. Lived in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. No idea why. But it's part of my past. So it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get those experiences. Like if your mind tell you to do it, sometimes you just got to go.
Yeah, but it wasn't again, I can look back and I can be honest about it. It wasn't a great experience because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So you're just kind of floating.
Right.
Nothing felt right. And you're just, I don't know. Once you sink your teeth in something, and especially if you like it, it's a game changer in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Now, what are some core values did you learn growing up that helped translate into being successful in this industry?
I wouldn't say it's this industry, but I would say it's core values. And I think what I learned it comes from my parents. I think one from my father is just tremendous passion in loving what he did. Right. And I embrace the same feelings. I love my industry, wine and spirits. I love bars and restaurants and retailers and buyers. I love talking to people. I love storytelling because I think that's how you build brands. And my dad is great at that. He's fantastic. He could hold a room forever in telling stories. And I think that's key to success. And anything you do is you got to love it. You got to embrace it. And I think my mom, the core thing she gave me, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her, is she's fearless or she's clueless. And those two aspects are great because they teach you to get there. And she has no fear. And she's a bull in the china shop. She'll never give up. Never, ever, ever. Where my dad would give up in a heartbeat, my mom would never give up. Wow. And those two things, I live and breathe that every single day.
Absolutely. Now, you're speaking about your mom and your pops. Now, I understand you said you have 4 brothers all in this industry?
Yeah, we're all in the business now.
Wow. So were you one of the first? What was that order like?
Well, I always tell, and for my brother's sake, I always say this, I'm the youngest of 4, and I feel like I'm the luckiest because I got to see all the mistakes they made. I got to see everything that they did.
Right.
So I'm a combination of the 3 of them. You know, each of them are completely different. My second oldest and I are the ones who started the company. My one brother joined maybe 10 years ago. Another brother joined maybe 4 years ago. And I love it. I think there's nothing better than working with, I wouldn't even say it's family, but working with people that you can trust, who will work harder than you, who you don't have to worry about, are they doing their job? Are they giving it all? Does it matter to them? I know it does.
Right.
So whether it's family or not, if you can find those people, it makes your life so much easier because you could just trust their values.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So I got a question. Your father, he was in the industry. Did he have his own brand or was he part of a different company?
He was part of a giant liquor company. So he didn't own it. He was an employee there for 45 years at a big liquor company called Jim Beam. And, but that's one of the hard lessons I learned is my mistake is I assumed he would be able to add tremendous value, his relationships.
Right.
And I tell people this all the time, the worst thing you can do is wait for somebody to add value. Right. And I did that all the time in the beginning stages. I waited for him to do something. And there's 2 things that happens there. One is that they don't do it. It's not, I can't blame him. He doesn't have to do it.
Right.
But if I'm waiting around for help, I'm still going to be waiting. And I think the second thing is, is value that other people bring. It's just not the same as what you have to build yourself. You have to go do it. So Those were hard lessons. It took me all these things I'm saying took me nothing's ever a light bulb where it clicks. It's just lots of realizations over a long period of time, but it helped me. So one of the things I tell my team, we got 200 people, don't wait. Don't rely on anybody. You gotta micromanage and do everything yourself. And if someone adds value, God bless, but don't expect it.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you saying, it's not like a light bulb that clicks, but I see a lot of successful brands that you've created. Now, what do you think is behind all of that? Do you think is it all the times you failed, or do you think, at this point you kind of have a routine in your mind the way you can get the ball rolling faster than you could back before?
I think it's a bunch of things. I think one is, I have to work harder than everybody else. I have to instill in my team that they have to work harder than everybody else. I really do believe that the harder you work, will pay off. I have to work harder than the Bacardis of the world and the Diageos and the Pernod Ricards and everybody else.
Yeah.
That's how we got here. My brands have to be better. And so my bottle of Belaire or Bumbu or Deacon, the new brand, or Villon or McQueen, they have to taste better than the competition. They have to look better. They have to have a better story. Blood, sweat, and tears are in these brands. And if I believe them, then I can make them successful. But the one thing that all these brands, Ace of Spades was the same, is no one believes in them because they're different. And in the early stages of brand building, it's amazing. You look at a brand like Belaire or Ace or a bunch of our brands, Bumbu, our rum, our industry, my trade thought, this will never be successful. It'll never work. But now everybody wants them once they're successful,
Right.
So
that
to me is just normal. But the problem is you listen to that noise. In the early stages, I would listen to that. When they told me to change Belaire, I launched that black bottle that you have there. Black bottle rosé was our first. And everybody in the trade said, don't launch rosé first. You got to do a brut, which is the gold bottle. Don't put it in a black bottle because you can't see the liquid. Don't price it the way you're pricing it because you can't compete with Moet and Veuve. And the younger Brett would have listened and changed everything. But I learned if anybody's going to screw this up, I want it to be me, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to live and die based on what I believe, and I'm going to will it to work. And I believe that's those stories are why we're successful.
Right. It was your vision. It's not no one else's. So I understand that concept of not running to someone else, answer them what they think all the time, what they think. What's most important is, what you think, believing in yourself and pushing forward with that idea. And you had that idea come to fruition, which is super dope and amazing. And I commend you for that for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's not to say that I don't listen. I do. Mm-hmm. And there may be nuggets. You may tell me something during this podcast and I never thought about before. Right. So I'll take that nugget and incorporate it into what I'm doing. So you can listen, but if you're going to change fundamentally everything, then that gets back to this idea of what do you think? That was my mistake. And it's, he's got 20 years experience. I just started. He's been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Those were my mistakes. I believe I didn't have confidence in myself. And I think that's the hardest part of whether you're alone in business or whether you work for a company is you got to have a confidence. You got to be confident and you'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of confidence, I was listening to a recent podcast that you was on, Drink Champs, and just hearing you and Rick Ross on that show, it was very, very entertaining, and also I learned a lot from listening to that interview. But something I did notice with you guys when I was watching, I was like, they have a chemistry. It doesn't seem like it's just business. It feels like they really got genuine love for each other. So when it comes to one, I want to understand how you guys build that relationship, and also in business, why is it important to not lose sight of that human element?
I'll answer the second part first. I think that human element's the most important. I think I try not to look at relationships as a transaction, mm-hmm. or a relationship is with an individual or a company. To me, you want to, the best part of marriage is once you've gotten to know them, and you yell at each other and you figure it out and it gets better and it gets better and it gets better. That's what I want. I want a real relationship where it should last a long time. I want someone who's going to motivate me. I want someone who's going to push me. I want someone who's going to give ideas. I want those relationships. If it's a transaction, if you think about a transaction, it's a finite thing. It's going to end. Mm-hmm. I don't want things to end because here you've gone through this exercise. Take Ross. If it ended, that we just learned all about each other, the goods and the bads, the ins and outs, what works and doesn't. You got to build on that. And that's the beauty. So whether it's Ross or Wayne or Wiz or Khaled or whoever it is, I want to build on these things. And it's important to me. It's an important element, I think, of business. And I think it's an important human element because it adds value to our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And with those names you said, Wiz, Khaled, Rick Ross, I know you work with Lil Wayne. All those guys are under the hip hop umbrella. Why did you choose to work with those individuals within hip hop? What about them? Is there anything about that culture that grabs your attention?
I, I'm a huge hip hop fan. I'm a bigger fan of the artists themselves versus the music. I think hip hop and the artists, they're true entrepreneurs.
Right.
You know, they're on their own. There's a struggle story. It's not, a made up boy band. There's always a story to be told. So I think it's inspiring.
Right.
And I'm a big believer, and I've always said this, you lean into what feels right to you. If I'm leaning into country music, that's not me. If I'm leaning into sports, it is me, but not in the sense of in the same value.
Right.
But music, it's something we've always leaned in on, and it's something we continue to do. And on top of that, I'd say we continue to learn from it. So right now, we're doing so much in Africa in music. And, that's not hip hop. That's Afrobeat.
Yes.
That's a different type of music, but it feels right. And I like the artists, and we're doing more. So everything to me is, it should feel good. It should feel like the right thing to be doing. If you're chasing numbers, it's not the way it works. And I'm not chasing someone's, oh God, look at all the Instagram followers. Who cares? I'd rather work with people who I just like, and there's a genuine relationship there.
Yeah, I can see that about you, because I've seen you do big podcasts. I've seen you do mid-level, low-level podcasts. And with that type of mindset, I can see how you got such successful brands. You don't lose sight of that human element, because everybody not up here, and when it comes to status-wise. But everyone does have that common thing, like having a drink. Needing that. And that brings me to a segment I did want to transition to in the show, where I'm going to give you an example of a situation, okay? And I want you to follow up within that scenario, what beverage would fit that situation perfectly. So, all right, my first scenario, I want to ask you, okay, I had a long day of work. I am dead tired. I get home. My wife was already on my nerves, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and skip to the man cave. I'm always showered up. I just want to sit back and calm myself down. What beverage would I choose?
Ooh, I like this. Calm myself down. I got to go with the Deacon right now.
The Deacon.
Deacon. I got to go with the Deacon. The Deacon, it's smoky, it's sweet, it's peat. I don't need an ice cube. I can just drink it straight. I don't know. I kind of want to put on the goggles that we have to go with the Deacon, and just kind of get in my zone.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah. So all my brands, and I'll just share a story. All my brands have story. So it's like with the Deacon, the name literally means in Scotland, it has a meaning. If you're the best at what you do, if you're the best podcaster, you're the best economist, if you're the best barber, you're given a title, the Deacon. You're the best at it. Mm-hmm. So to me, like with what you're describing, I want to get back to that. Like, so that now I'm the Deacon again. I'm back up on that pedestal. So that's what it gives me.
I love that. I love that. Mm-hmm. All right. Now I got another scenario. Okay. Now, this is where I just opened a brand new business. This is the launch. We are cutting the ribbon, and we want to have a ball out good time and celebrate our great accomplishment. What are we drinking?
Oh, we're popping Belaire. We're popping all night long. And to be honest, we're not drinking first. We're just spraying it everywhere. We're spraying it, and then we're drinking.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely seen that, because even when I saw the Super Bowl, I saw them have huge bottles of this black bottle Belaire. It's like, and And
they've been doing that. The Chiefs did that. The Rams did that. Everyone's done that. They get the big bottles. They want to hold them. But that's where even my own little interview series, Self-Made, it all came from holding bottles because people freaking did it. I did it. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to drink out of that because I earned it. And that's what you're describing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. So if it's my birthday and I just want to have a ball good time with all my friends and just cut the rug or whatever, am I still drinking Belaire or I'm going to a different beverage? Or maybe something in conjunction.
No. We're changing it up. You're going to McQueen Ultraviolet, this one.
McQueen. Do we have
McQueen, our gin, but our newest extension, it's called Ultraviolet. You can see it's kind of purple velvet, violet color.
Yeah.
We're doing this because this gives you're not drinking champagne for your birthday. You're drinking something that's got color and something that's got a kick to it. And so you're doing shots of this.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, now since we're in the mood of celebrating, and I really appreciate those breakdowns. Now I know what we need to do. I know what we need to choose. But today marks with you, we want to celebrate our 100th episode. And I just felt it was so fitting to have Mr. Brett Berish on. And
sweet.
Speaking about celebrating like those Super Bowls, those moments, I knew choosing a beverage of yours would be perfect for us to celebrate our 100th episode. So I appreciate you joining us, and I
love it.
Want to welcome you to celebrate with us in this journey.
I'm honored, really. I'm untouched and honored because, as I said, for me, these brands, if I had an arch describing kind of who we are, it's that self-made sign for everybody out there who, from that first show that you did to the 100th show, it's the same path, and it's freaking hard and it's difficult.
Yes.
And you got there, and you got to take those moments and own those moments. So shout out to you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate
the Highest Point Podcast. Y'all heard it here first.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Berish holding us down. We appreciate you. Hey, you want to pop one of these? We can pour something. We gotta really celebrate this.
Brett, which one should we do, man? Which one should we do? The black one, the gold one?
I would old school. Let's do the black bottle rosé.
Yeah. How many? Oh, you got 2 cups. So we got to crack this open.
So who was on your first show?
My first show was
us.
It was us, me and my partner right here, Toby. We did a show on Father's Day, and we wanted to celebrate Father's Day, and we made that annual thing to have a segment dedicated to Father's Day, because you don't really hear the celebration as much for fathers. We lose sight of the importance of fathers, that relationship with a father or a father figure. It don't even have to be a biological dad, because I'm a stepdad and I also have a biological daughter. And oh yeah.
Cheers. That's how you do it. It's a good day.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something else, Brett. Now, I have never drunk any type of alcohol my entire life.
Shut up.
My entire life. But this is our 100th episode, and I feel that you have a brand that people can trust, that people can enjoy, that people can make just marks in life with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take this cup in celebration of the milestone we got, and it was so important to us, and we feel so grateful that you joined us to do this. This is history, man.
Yeah, man.
I love it. I'm gonna take
one.
a drink.
So we're going to have this toast to you. Cheers to you, Brett.
Cheers, Brett.
Cheers.
Delicious.
See, this is not, I can do this.
It's good,
man. That's right.
I've been trying to get a drink for forever, man.
Like a first-time drinker. Yes.
This is my first experience. Well, we popped your cherry.
Yeah. Pop the body, pop my cherry right here on the show. People like it's. Yeah, I can do this, man. This is awesome. And when my wife see this, her jaw is gonna drop.
Yeah.
You would never drink with me, but you're gonna drink with this guy.
She'll thank me. Thank me.
Yes, I believe that 100%. And this is smooth.
But if I'll digress for a second, because I want to make sure I touch on this, because I believe everything you guys are aspiring to get out of the people you talk to. You know, my first 6-7 years was horrifying in this space.
Yes.
I lost my house because I stopped paying my mortgage because I put it all in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I had my bank. I stopped paying the IRS taxes because I put it all back in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I had the IRS sweep my bank account. I had a marshal come and put the sign up on the door.
Wow.
It was to the point. It was horrifying, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's fearless, like my mom, or clueless, a little bit of both. I just kept going, and somehow I'm here. And you can look at me and think, my gosh, he's really successful, but everyone's got a story to tell. As long as they're being honest, there's a shitty side to it. You had to get there. Exactly. You had to get there.
Yes, and trust and believe, we have seen shitty.
Oh yeah.
When I first launched this thing, I told Toby about the idea. He was just like, okay, yeah, that's cool, man. That sounds cool. Yeah. And then all of a sudden one day I said, yo, I got a studio, I got mics, I got an interface. Come pull up. We're going to do a show. And he was just like, what?
Yeah, because we was just talking randomly like we normally do. And then next time I talked to him, he got all the stuff, like everything. You know what I mean? Like it was just, like, all right, well, let's go.
That reminds me of, you just got to go do it.
Yeah,
you just got it. You know, and I think, and I keep reminding myself I interviewed this guy. I don't know if you know NDO Champ.
I think I heard him.
He's a huge bodybuilder. He's crazy videos. But he reminded me just by talking to him. You know, I asked, what one advice? He's like, stop asking if you like something. Stop asking if this is a good idea. Stop asking. Like, you can't, it's true. You just got to let it go. You just got to try. When I talk to musicians, and I always ask, because it tells this great story, what's your number one commercial success? The number one song you had commercially, did you think it was going to be successful? 99% of them say no, they hated it.
Yes, that's true.
Just got to put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
You got to try. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you got to try.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Cause I do trucking and I kind of just jumped in it, man. I went to trucking school. I drove for about 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that I had the cash. So I just went and bought me a truck and put it on. Like I didn't make money at first. I lost probably about 20,000 trying to learn, but it is what it is, you know. You got to learn to be able to take it to the next level. Yes. Like, so what I lost.
You're going to make mistakes. Yep. You're going to make mistakes and learn from them, and you keep going. And that's, you know, there's that 1% out there. Maybe it's more than that, but you know, they succeeded quickly, and I guarantee you that's luck. You know, they had something else. But for the normal people, it's hard work, and you're going to get there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
definitely.
We've been on this journey for a while. Like, I used to be a rapper. I used to travel, do shows, things like that. I'm out of North Carolina, but we didn't have a lot of outlets, so I had to travel to try to build a fan base. And I saw, you know, after a while, I got older. I saw that something that I always felt like I would have needed, it just wasn't here. So I pivoted and said, you know what, I'm going to create a platform myself for people to be heard, get their story heard. You know, because it's so important. Like you said, you a fan of the artist, you know, not so the music per se, but you the person. It's so important for people to understand that person, because they can become a fan of you as a person first and then follow the music. And that was just something we was missing in this area. So I said, you know what, I'm going to create it. Since it's something I wanted, I knew it would have been, you know, helpful for me, and it wasn't here, I'm gonna do it for others. And this platform has really helped others get their voice out there, their music out there, and we want to continue to build it to just make it more and more people, make it more accessible to more and more people. And that's our ultimate goal.
I love it. Congrats to you guys. Congrats.
Thank you. And you got Self-Made too. I wanted to get into Self-Made, your show.
So it started a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where, again, getting back to the idea of what do the brands mean? They have meaning. And that idea that people are holding bottles and not celebrating, but celebrating themselves. They achieved something. And we realized kind of this self-made idea of that's what it means, is you've done it, you've achieved it, whether it's a group or a family or whoever it is. And what I wanted to hear, which is somewhat similar to what you're both saying, I don't get motivated by success. I get motivated by people who tell me the shit that they went through to get there.
Yes.
Because that's motivating. That's appealing. That's striving for something. That's the nugget I want to hear. And I think everyone has that. I've interviewed business people and sports people and musicians. And now we're interviewing people in other countries, but it's those nuggets that I'm hoping, one, it motivates me, but two, for their fans to hear, and I think that gets amplified, because I wish when I was young that I heard those stories, because from the outside, it just looks like everything's easy.
Yes.
It's not.
Subscribe now for part 2.
The Highest Point Podcast.
More than a pod, it's a lifestyle.